In Space with Markiplier. Leave now if you don't want spoilers, because I'll be ranting about this for the next 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes. Who knows? And before I get started, I just want to say that this is not the original first start off video for my channel that I was going to do. But considering I did a goodbye to another channel, I think this is very on brand. But with that out of the way, let's get started with the quick preach to the In Space crew. Give them a round of applause. Because they made such an amazing project, with Mark being both the director, writer, and an actor for this. And everybody else was amazing. Costumes, makeup, all the things that go into a production team. They have made something beautiful, and they all should be proud of it. And there are so many Easter eggs in this thing. Thank you, Mark, for all these Easter eggs, because I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm going to talk about 2 of them. Specifically, the pink bubblegum gunslinger himself, Wilford mother-loving Warstash. He is a detour to the actual ending. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I was watching it with a watch party with my friends, and my friend Marlo, when we got Wilford, started screaming, and it was so funny because they were just so excited that we got Wilford the first time. You should totally go check out their channel. They have amazing content. They're amazing. And freaking go check out their channel. They've made 2 videos on In Space. You should fucking go look at it right now. Go look at it. Go like and subscribe to their content, okay? Because they're just amazing. Before we delve into the theories, though, I want to talk about why in Space we have wormholes. And the reason we had wormholes, or the big wormhole ETH, was because, our space is huge. It's freaking huge. And there's no way we can get from point A, aka Earth, to another habitable planet because it's just too far. The distance is too far. Taking a wormhole is basically pinching 2 parts of reality together and just going through like a needle and thread, if that makes sense. And with that out of the way, let's talk about a detail that I didn't see until I watched it 3 times. I watched this with my friends, and then I watched it myself to see if I missed anything, and then I watched it a 3rd time to make sure I didn't miss anything. And what I found was quite interesting, such as Peepaw Mark, and how he comes out of oxygen or life support before we go jump through the wormhole. And this is a rather important detail when you know that Peepaw Mark has been fighting the captain, I guess, for who knows how long. He's bent on beating us so that we cannot destroy reality. When in all actuality, it was most likely him to have caused everything. Because Mark had found the warp core floating in space, as he told us, and the lady. And he didn't know how it worked, but he found out it could make a wormhole. So, of course, if it sort of passes all the regulations, why not make it, I don't know, use it for the Invincible, or the Invincible 2. We don't know much about the Invincible other than that it exists, and it was seen in the teaser trailers. And we are in the Invincible 2. But Peepaw Mark, he is the reason things go wrong in the first video. And I have evidence to back this up, and it is in the form of what Gunther says after you call an emergency meeting. He goes and says, a lot of the stuff looks sabotaged. It's impossible for it not to be sabotaged. And to which Mark responds, that can't be right, because the only 2 people able to change things is him and the captain. We know we didn't do it because we are the captain. So that leaves Mark, but we know Mark couldn't have done it because he was in the cryogenics pod, and we saw him. And then, when you look back, Peepaw Mark is the most likely candidate for this. Now you might be asking, how is this possible? Because this is how I'm picturing what you're saying. But Jay, how can it be Peepaw Mark when Mark is with us? Well, to which I say, time is relative, and it's completely plausible that because of this and the time displacement that we're experiencing because of the giant ass wormhole behind us, because of the damn warp core, anyway, it's completely plausible. And one of the good examples of time being displaced is when we have the multiple characters from like when we're in another route, and then you just turn behind you and see another character going, that's not me, before going and disappearing. Who knows where they went? They just poofed. But the bottom line is that's them. That is, there are two existing people at one time, and they are the same person. When we're stuck with this wormhole, nothing and everything doesn't make sense. Anything and everything and nothing is all the same. It never makes sense, but it does at the same time, if you catch my drift. Anyway, another example is we're going into multiple universes, such as the multiverse is a thing where you have different universes. This way we have the horrorverse and the noirverse and any other universe that we haven't seen in part 1 that we might see in part 2. This creates the explanation of how Peepaw Mark and Mark can coexist together. Time and space is a fickle thing. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, especially with a giant wormhole. Anyway, with that, let's talk about a little speed round of the details about space that has a reference to heist or any other things, such as the gem that is stuck to our hand. It is from the box in Heist with Markiplier. Wilford is in Wilford Mother Loving Wharfstaff outfit. He's in his nice disco outfit, having fun. And that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that space is behind Wilford Mother Loving Wharfstaff or anything. Wilford just breaks reality, so we should just ignore that and move on with it. But like Wilford said, I'm not going to look into the minutia of it, so we're not even going to get into those details. Never mind, I lied. We're getting into the details. When you have this one part right here where you're looking into the lockers, there's one that says that Miss Whitaker and Cece have a connection. And it's true, they do have a possible connection. If you take Miss Whitaker's first name, Doreen, and Celsie's name, or Celsilonia, I forget, and put them together, you could make Celine out of it. It's a bit of a stretch, but I agree with it. It's possible. And also, Miss Whitaker is an oddball of the colonists that we haven't yet met, and she's the only colonist that we've met, so, and the things she said is quite interesting. Anyway, I'm also going to do the exact thing that we shouldn't do when looking in Mark's videos, and it's when we have a bunch of papers on the walls that usually mean nothing because they're just a bunch of garbled nonsense, which I totally understand. But let's look into this. We have this wall of papers that have a bunch of tally marks and have some sayings, which is usually "Don't wake the captain." Now, who's writing this? I would like to say maybe it's possible that it's Peepaw Mark, and the eyes and hand that we see in the cryopod is the captain. It's us. It's just the exact same thing as when people go, that's not me, and and they just disappear. That's why. And then we get back into our reality. It is us spilling into Peepaw Mark's reality, his universe, and we're seeing the tally marks, probably him losing each time, the infinite amount of times before the universe goes kaplooey. Anyway, that's a lot to take in, and my small last point before I get crazy a little bit, or end this video really, is actor Mark, or Markiplier, doesn't know about the viewers. He only knows about the captain, and he asked the narrator, the viewers, what viewers? Meaning that despite actor being in charge of all of this, he has no idea what he's doing, and he has no idea what he's toying with here. And, who knows? He probably doesn't. And while everything is an act, it is a thing that leads into another theory that I'm not going to talk about here because it has nothing to do with space. But last thing is I'm going to talk about the glitches that we see, specifically a few, because most of them are just like scenes and also a lot of crewmate stuff. So definitely we're going to be talking more to the crewmates and getting more interaction with them, which is really exciting. We get to meet everybody. And then we're probably going to go back to the noir verse to see Abe, our good old detective. And maybe, who knows, maybe he's taking a break from hunting Wilford, or maybe he hasn't fallen back into his role. Who knows? But we're definitely going to see him. And we're definitely, hopefully, going to see some Mark egos, because in a few of those glitches, there is Mark there. But who knows who he's playing and what's actually happening. Also, in a few glitch scenes and in the ending, you can see Captain Magnum and Yancey, or at least the prison outfits that Yancey is from the Happy Trails Penitentiary. And so it's a good possibility we'll be seeing the heist egos, like Illinois. We've already seen Illinois, and he's absolutely useless in his ending. So useless. Useless man. Anyway, you get a constant, good job, Captain. You're doing great. And we also have Chef in this glitch. So hopefully we'll get to see Chef again. I really like Chef. He's really cool. Anyway, so those are a little bit of predictions. We're definitely going to learn a little bit more about the warp core, I think, because a lot of this and how maybe we get to learn how the warp core created this giant wormhole, the record-breaking wormhole, and how we could fix all of this. And we're definitely, maybe we'll get another ending that can save everybody. And hopefully we'll get more. And also, we're gonna probably see the Mark egos that Mark glitched into, such as Glasses Mark, Bandana Mark, and Shirtless Mark. I don't know how I feel about that Mark, actually. But anyway, I'm excited for part 2, and I can't wait to see what happens. So thank you for listening to my rant, and oh my god. Oh my god! Ah! Alright, okay, I kid you not. While making the sprites and audio for this, Mark posted a video that is a teaser trailer for part 2, and it is called Error. And Error but confirms my theory that we're going to be talking more to the crewmates. Thank you to Pat, who starts talking to us and saying, "You're a more hands-off captain, aren't you?" and stuff like that, as well as correlating with the glitch. So, anyway, that's not all. Now, being the resident theorist of my friend group, I was in charge of finding all the damn codes that were in this frickin' video. Now, look, I have no problem with decoding things. My problem was that you had to solve substitution stuff and math to find out which symbol correlates with what letter. And I'm not that good with math, and while the math was super simple, it's difficult when you only have 1 or 2 numbers to go off of, and then you don't have much to go off of there. Anyway, this brings up a good point that I forgot to talk about earlier, and it's that before In Space Part 1 was released, we had Mark releasing the trailer on the premiere site with a bunch of the Mark trailers of In Space, and it changed each time. We got to see different scenes that we hadn't seen before, and each time there was codes, and with these codes we got names of gods, or the gods that correlate with our solar system, our planets, and also stories that correlate with those gods. And what gods we got was Aphrodite, Zeus, Kronos, Poseidon, Ares, Hermes, and Calisius. I think that's how you say your name. I hope it is. But anyway, we're going to go into the codes from yesterday, at least yesterday of me recording this audio. The 7 gods align. A key formed from their union. The lock hides in time. So 7 gods align is most likely our solar system planets aligning, which would make sense. We technically have 7 and it's possible. And another thing that you may be asking is, What about the key? What does that mean? I have no freaking clue. And to be honest, I'm not even going to get started with that until I get at least another trailer to understand. And from my understanding, now that the trailer says it's like at 25%, I think we're going to be in quarters. We're going to do quarters for until In Space Part 2 comes out, which is really exciting. So I hope there's more codes. And what's good about that is if there's more codes, and we have a cipher now of understanding the alphabet of that alien language, since we have that, it'll be easier to solve future codes if they keep that up with that cipher, which is awesome. Anyway, another small detail, or two small details, is that there's a mention of Soma in the description, and Soma is an interesting game because not only does Mark like this game because it deals with the whole concept of, you know, what reality is, if you're like, I forget the exact thing, but it just how you view reality and how it can change with a, you know, spin of a hat. And anyway, that game starts on May 2nd, which is when part 2 comes out, so that's really exciting. And the last detail is that the Invincible 3 and 4 already exist, and there's an Invincible Infinity existing out there. The Invincible 2, which is the one we're on, is corrupted, but is being rebooted, which is why we had the computer universe reset. So our universe in the multiverse is being reset, because we're traveling to places we shouldn't be. But who knows, maybe that reset won't even work and we'll have to do this on our own. Anyway, Mark also released a photo of him in the USA waiting room, and the time for the wait is infinite. So infinity is definitely a repeating theme, and it's possibly due to us, you know, being in a multiverse, an infinite multiverse where, you know, we're leaving an infinite amount of corpses, as the lady says, behind in our trails to figure out our failures. But who knows? With what little I have on that teaser trailer, there's not much I can theorize with that. But I do hope that I probably won't make another video about this. Maybe I'll make an In Space Part 2 thing of me losing my mind. But with that out of the way, I am going to say goodbye to you guys, actually. And say another thank you to you, the viewers, and the In Space team, who made such an amazing project. It is so much bigger than Heist and so much fun. And it is not what I expected when Mark said that In Space was going to be bigger than Heist. And my God, is it so much bigger than I expected. And it just deserves all the love and the praise for making it. Just everybody deserves a good break for that. They're fully finished, but if you don't want to take a break, then don't. Just like maybe take a small nap or whatever, but you should be proud of what you accomplished. And so once again, thank you for making part 1 and 2. My brain is fried. Goodbye. Have a lovely day, afternoon, or night, my beautiful stars. Signing off.